Hey guys, Jake Biggie Mills here, and I am joined with the one, the only EJ, the Cobra Samuel from Max 102, 98.5 KRZ, Froggy 101, and
And WILK.
WYLK, of
Got you.
course.
Of course.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing our conference picks for the PIAA District 2 football season. I did my tier list video not too long
hmm
ago, and then EJ made one for the Instagram page. And now we're going to be going over our picks together. They were previously posted on the Instagram, and this is the video going more in depth about it. So, EJ, you ready to go?
I am ready to go. I want to put a disclaimer out here really quickly.
Go ahead.
This is just solely based on opinion. And just I guess on my standpoint, I've been doing this for a minute. Even before I was hired by a company to do it. It's just based off stats. It's based on feelings, and most of it is based off of opinion. So just a disclaimer: we're not no favoritism. There's none of that. It's solely based on this is how we feel. And if you disagree, that's sports, and you're able to disagree. So
Exactly.
let's move forward.
And especially for the Wyoming Valley Conference Division 2 and Division 1, as you guys know, I'm a former offensive lineman for Pittston Area High School, and I'm playing at Wilkes now. I played against a lot of these teams, even some of the Lackawanna teams. I played against them. I know kids who play for them, and I know kids who have played for them in the past. And my family, football runs deep in the family. Both my dad and uncle played Division 1, and even his wife, her brother played at Temple and everything. And I'm actually, you want to hear something cool before we get started? Not through blood, but I am related to the Hensis family, Jack Hensis, John Hensis. It's my aunt, Jack Hensis, who just unfortunately recently just passed away. The legendary head coach of Dunmore. That was my aunt's. That's my aunt's mother's brother. So it's like I'm football's like, especially local high school football is just deep in me. I have a lot of connections and I'm a former player, so it's just I know I got some different sources than EJ, but
yeah. And you know what they say in radio? You know what they
What?
say in radio, Jake? You know everybody. If you're in radio, it is within 5 minutes of starting your job in radio, you will know everybody in radio.
Yes.
Everybody knows everybody.
That's how it works, man. All right. Lackawanna Conference Division 1. I'm going to, EJ, I'll let you go first. You can read yours off if you want, and I'll ask you some questions because I have them here as well.
Yeah. So this Lackawanna Conference is going to be really tough because especially Division 1, they've got a lot of powerhouse schools in here, and I think I'm going to not necessarily shock everybody, but here's what I've got. Should I start from the bottom or the top?
I'm going to start at the top.
You're going to start at the top?
That's what I do, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start at the top. You ready for this one? I have Scranton Prep winning it. Here is why. Scranton Prep has got a lot of firepower. They are always a good and solid program.
True.
And I think that being that with their scheduling, I was looking at their scheduling, they're just a program set up to succeed. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't win it, but I just think that the odds are better that they do win it. Number 2 is Delaware Valley. Here's why I've got Delaware Valley at 2. Everyone's hyping Delaware Valley up, and they do every year. And don't get me wrong, Delaware Valley is very good, and I've seen them countless times. Here's the problem. The problem is they go out of state. They play these big schools. They played New York schools last year, and they play for Pennsylvania. If they stuck in their division, if they stuck and played all D2 schools, they'd win 100%. They'd be up there with the Dunmore and Riverside in my tier list. Like, they would be up there. But they go out of town a lot, and they play some big, tough schools. And I think that those losses are going to add up. And I simply think that they will have a worse record just based off the fact that Prep stayed in and they're still, able to do all of that. That's why I think Delaware Valley gets second. But they're going to beat everybody that they play locally. I'm just telling you now.
I agree with that statement. Absolutely.
But I just don't think that. It's great that they get all the college, whatever. They get all the college exposure. They play these big schools, but it's just, there's positives and there's negatives. The negatives is most of the time you ain't winning. So that's just the way I feel.
They proved that. You know,
Yes.
they played
Yes.
they played that team down in Florida. They lost. They played, what was it, Downingtown? Was Downingtown East?
I believe
One
so.
of the Downingtown schools they lost, and then they played
Yes.
Harrisburg, and then they came back to this.
Harrisburg's tough school. Yep.
Yeah, Harrisburg is, yeah.
And it's just tough. It's a tough position. And if they win it, great. And if they don't, you know what? They're still a darn good football team.
Oh yeah.
Here's what I got at 3. Ready? I got Scranton at 3.
Yeah.
I have Scranton at 3, being that I think last year they kind of died and fizzled out right at the end of the season, but they still have some of those guys. They still got, the team really hasn't changed too much. And I think that they're good enough to be not necessarily in the middle of the pack, a little bit above that. So that's why I've got them at 3. Valley View at 4. Once again, it's going to be a little nuts. It's a packed division. I mean, if Valley View didn't have to deal with Prep and DV, they'd be in the top 2 easy.
Oh yeah.
But once again, that's a tough division. Valley View always plays those schools. There's always a lot of spotlight and hype on them, and I think they'll live up to, as far as their season goes, their hype. But I just don't think that it's enough to win the division. But I think Valley View will do some stuff. I put them at 4.
Best division, I think.
North Pocono. Oh yeah. I think LFC 1 is the best division. North Pocono, I have them at 5. Here's the problem with North Pocono. The problem with North Pocono is they're spotty. They're very spotty.
Yes.
I have a feeling that they're going to get hot in the beginning and they're going to die out like they did last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see
being that I think North Pocono is 5 in the division. And then, of course, the bottom 2 schools, Pack at 6 and Abington Heights at 7. Nothing really to explain there. I mean, right. Abington Heights got some promise. They definitely have some promise, but they're not going to do much this year.
Still not there.
It's not in that tough division. They don't get anything better than second to last.
Exactly. I agree. It's just a bad position for them to be in that such competitive.
It's
competitive
tough.
District or
now.
Like it's.
Here's a hot take for you. Hot take for you. Ready? Put Abington Heights in Conference 3, right? Put them in Conference 3. They're top 3.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just watch.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. That's definitely possible. It's just again the competitiveness. I basically had the same thing as you, except I had DV winning the whole thing and Prep at 2nd, because let me tell you that Delaware Valley team, they just such a big school. They bring in kids like crazy. Still have Aiden Black coming back. They still have Jacob Albaugh, I think his name is. I played against him. He's 6'6", 240, huge. Their linemen are huge, like big kids. Tough kids they're
football school. They're football school.
Oh yeah.
They're good with their athletics.
Else I have the same, like literally the exact same, except I have Prep at 2nd. North Pocono, I want to talk about a little bit. I think it was just kind of weird to see them fizzle out like that last year, you know?
It was tough. It was tough to see. You hate to see it.
But let me tell you, that's a program I think will always be like, even if they're like, even at their worst is like 4-6 or 5-5. You know what I mean? That's one thing I want to point out. Scranton, they're bringing back the quarterback.
Yes, they are
bringing him back.
That kid's quick.
He's fast,
real quick.
Oh yeah.
I noticed. Here's the thing. I noticed every single time he'd get under pressure, you could never count him out.
No,
because when you put that kid under pressure, he understands pocket passing. But here's the problem. He's not limited to just one option. The way they've designed that offense is they always have a safety valve, no matter what. Like he could be, okay, we're targeting this guy and that is it. And if the play doesn't, if they cover this guy, that's it. He have a safety valve, because whether it's a guy that maybe another guy that they're going to throw to, or just okay, I got the running back here, I could just pitch it to him. His feet count as a safety valve, because that kid's gotten himself where he would have lost 15 yards. He gained like 8, and it's like, oh my gosh, how do you get through all of that? Like he's got 4 guys on him and he gains like 8 yards. It's
he's a really good quarterback. He's gonna be a huge factor. They're bringing back other guys too, and they had a really good season last year. All right,
I think they did too.
Yeah, and that's honestly all I have to talk about for Lackawanna Division 1. I mean, Valley View, they're going to struggle a little bit. You know, it's a new system, new coach, and they
New
lost a
system.
good chunk of guys. But
They'll
again,
get
that's a
back.
school that just breeds football. So I think it's going to be fine. All right.
They'll be all right.
Yeah. Lackawanna Conference Division 2. EJ, what do you have? Let me see.
LFC Division 2. This is a pretty good conference. And I think being my number one is in the conference. My number one is Dunmore.
Yes.
My number one is Dunmore. And I'm going to tell you right now, Dunmore is the best school in the Lackawanna Conference, and they might be the best school in District 2.
See, I might have to take you up on that one.
Okay. Well, wait, just wait for a second. Dunmore, I happen to know, is going to be ranked here shortly in the state. I happen to know that by fact of I've got a lot of media groups running in my family, and I happen to know these things. Dunmore is very good. They might be top 8 of their classification in the state, and it's theirs to lose. That title, and hear me, folks, it's theirs to lose. If they start falling down, they'll fall down. But I can tell you right now, they're so hyped going into this season, and they look so good on paper that how could they not be ranked?
Right.
They're number one. They're winning the division. If they don't, I will be appalled. Here's where it's interesting. Western Wayne at second.
I agree.
Western Wayne was a little weird last year. I thought they might do more than they did. And unfortunately, they were unable to finish it off. But I think they have a better year this year. And I think they get a hold of Lakeland. And I think Lakeland at 3. And here's why. Domenico Spatero was the soul of that offense last year.
Oh my God.
He was the soul of that offense, and they graduated him.
And they graduated a ton of guys too. Lakota Dupree.
Dupree.
Adam Warmuth or something, as I think his name is.
Yes. And let me tell you something. Lakota Dupree, sound kid. I interviewed that kid. I called Lakeland at West Scranton. Here's the problem. Even when they had those guys, West Scranton almost came back and beat them.
I know. I remember that.
And I was texting you, but you were playing your game, so you probably got all the text messages. When you got back into the locker room, I said, dude, West Scranton could win it here. And they almost did. Here's the thing with Lakeland. They now are in uncharted territory. They're like where the 49ers are right now. Who is our quarterback? We did not plan for this. So who is our quarterback? And is he going to be, what's he going to do? Is he going to be a certified gunslinger? Is he going to be Lamar Jackson? Is he going to be a mix of both? What are we doing here? They have to wholly reroute their entire offense. At least that's what I would personally thinking that they would be doing right now. And I just don't know. I don't think that they, with all of that confusion, I think their defense is fantastic. Yes. But I think that their offense, they're a little bit confused. There have been a little bit of an identity crisis. I think they finish about middle of the pack at 3.
That's the issue there, the offense.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah, the offense is killing them. The offense is going to kill them. But here's the other thing. Their ceiling is if Dunmore starts tipping out, right, they could take the division. They very well could. But a lot of things have to go right. Their offense has to get solved. Yeah. Dunmore has to fall.
Which I don't see happening.
Wayne, and I don't see Dunmore falling. Western Wayne could die out, and that has to happen as well.
All those things have to happen.
And Mid-Valley is surging, which is why I have them at 4. Mid-Valley is surging. They've got a lot of stuff going on. And listen, it's like the Browns a couple years ago when everybody's like, oh, they're stacked. And they said that the year before, and they were bad. But they brought back the same team, and then they made the playoffs. And, of course, they, won a playoff game, which we won't talk about. And they did some other things. But they improved. That's where Mid-Valley is right now. It's taking that next step. I think they're going to be hot. I think they're going to take that next step. That's why I have them at 4. Okay. And then Carbondale and West fighting for the scraps at the bottom. Carbondale going to get at least 2 wins. And West Scranton, tough. Like, they've had a tough past, 2 or 3 years.
Oh, dude.
And I don't see it getting any better. Yeah. I just don't. And it's unfortunate because those kids deserve good football. They just are not getting it.
It's Honesdale. Honesdale's Division 2.
Oh, not Carbondale. Honesdale. That's right.
With 2 Dales. Yeah, no.
Carbondale's in 3. Carbondale's in 3. In fact, matter of fact, I have Carbondale and Honesdale both at second to last in their division. So there's a sneak peek
That
of
makes
what you've got coming up.
Yeah, West Scranton's just they've been in a tough place for the last 2 years or so. It's just really bad because when I think Pittston area played West Scranton. Oh, I want to say my last time was the freshman year. We beat them, but the year before that, they killed us. Like they were like one of the best teams in the area. Now they're a laughing stock. Like I hate to say it, but like it's always West Scranton, but they have I like their coach, the young coach, and it sucks that the way it is there, West Side.
How many times recently has West Scranton pounded Scranton or won their bell game that they play?
They haven't. Right?
And West Scranton recently was doing that, but since these past 2 years, Scranton's been doing it because Scranton's good, and now West Scranton's taking the fall. So you've got 2 Scranton teams that are good every year. And at one time it was Prep and West. And you wouldn't want to play either of them because West was in the middle of the pack and they were kind of like a trap card, a trap game.
Yeah.
And then Scranton would be whatever. Okay. Teams like Valley West would pummel them like 20 by like 20 points.
Yeah.
And now you're getting to that point where that is flipped. And now Scranton and Scranton Prep are the teams you don't want to play. Yeah. And West Scranton's kind of teetering off. It's going to happen. And let me tell you something. It is only a matter of time. And it might take a few years, but it is only a matter of time till Prep takes that fall and West Scranton and Scranton are in there. It might happen. But that's going to be down the road.
Something needs to happen at West. They need more. I think
something definitely needs to happen.
They need a good season because
I'm hoping their coaching staff helps them out this year because they seem very optimistic whenever I talk to them. Oh, yeah, they seem optimistic. They're very peppy. They're trying their best, and I understand.
And for Division 2, all I have to say, I mean, Dunmore, it's there. It's yours. I'm telling that team. But here, when I made my tier list, I didn't put them in S tier because I feel like they need to prove it to me first that they are, that team. I believe they are. I believe they have the potential to be, but I have to see it first to believe it. And then Western Wayne, that's a new coach as well. Lakeland replacing all that stuff. Honesdale, I have it for. I have Honesdale over Mid Valley. Honesdale, that honestly, I think they're an underrated program. They really are. We scrimmage them every year.
They could be the surprise of the division.
Now we would beat them in the scrimmage by a good amount, but they have some good kids. They really do, and they're a tough football program. And once the actual season came around, they played really well last year. I think they had a pretty good season last year.
I agree.
Valley View, they killed Wyoming area, who was it was the week 2. They were on top of the world at the time. But
they pounded Tunkhannock last year when I watched them play. Yeah, what's the kid's name? I'm looking. I have all of my notes from the game. What is the kid's name? Max Mickle. Max Mickle. They are a running offense. Honesdale always have been.
Mm-hmm. Running team, absolutely.
And once I know he got dinged up. They had him on an out route, like where it was a fake, and then he went out and kind of went at a slant almost. Yeah, I couldn't even really tell. And he had a passing touchdown. But they kept keeping Tunkhannock guessing. Okay, well, is this kid going to run it? Is he going to be a pass option? What does this happen? And then they would also hit guys like Cole Freeze, which I think he's either a senior this year or he was this past year. They have guys. They've never had a quarterback that's bad.
No,
not that I can remember. Their offense, Honesdale, speaking Honesdale wise, their offense is pretty decent.
Yeah, they are.
It's their defense that I wonder because you've got Honesdale giving up points like 35, 40 points in a game, and you can't win games always by giving up 35, 40 points in a game. You just can't. So I just remember this. That's when you mentioned Honesdale about their offense. Max Mickle came up to mind because I watched him play at Tunkhannock the past year. He up to that point and through 4 weeks, he had 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, a passing touchdown, and he ran the ball 53 times.
Wow.
They were But as a running back, keep that in mind. They were targeting this kid more than they were even running him, and he was mentioned as a running back.
I know, yeah.
So you have to keep that in mind. And I wonder with the guys that they have now, right, what are they going to do? Are they going to continue to do that? Do they have a guy that they could do the same thing that they did with Max?
Right.
You know, that's my question. That's how I think their offense will pan out. It's just going to be, learning. And I just think Mid-Valley's on the surge, which is the only reason I put them above Honesdale.
All right. And now we're kind of getting, we talked so much about the first two. Now it's just going to be we're going to run through these a little quicker because there's not as much to talk about. Lackawanna Conference Division 3. Who do you got?
Riverside at 1. They are an S tier team. And I think they're going to be honorable mentions in the best in the state here shortly.
I agree.
Lackawanna Trail, decent team. Going to find yourself at about a 7-win, 8-win season. Old Forge with a new quarterback. They lose James Sobol or Sobol or whatever however you say his last name, which I said wrong 14 different ways during week 1 last year. I just don't know how to say his name.
It happens.
Anyway, Susky, you understand that. Susky had 3 wins last year? They did pretty decent.
4. I think they had 4 actually. 4.
Yeah, but for them, they did pretty decent.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And Carbondale going to be that next spot below. What did they have? 2 wins last year? 2 wins last year? And then you've got Holy Cross. And Holy Cross is just, they just don't have anything to work with. What are they supposed to do? They don't even have a field to work with.
Holy Cross.
Literally.
They might not have a team this year, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah, they might not even have a team.
Which sucks for them.
They might not even have a team.
Yeah, but...
And I think schools should have football. And I hate to see these teams like Holy Cross, but it just... Someone's got to take the role. Yeah. It's just unfortunate,
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, no, Riverside S tier, Reese Goggin, man. Oh, man.
Oh, yes. So Reese Goggin and... that quarterback,
Dino or something, right?
Yes. He was a gunslinger. That kid played last year. He dropped back. He'd sit in the pocket. He would carve these guys apart. Mid-Valley, as confident as they were playing, and they were up, 7-0 going into halftime. I believe it was 7-0 at halftime. Yeah. And they were coming in, and these kids would full on blitz, and he would just sit there. Chase would just sit there and go, okay, all right, I got all the time in the world because their line is so good, buying him time, and all Goggin has to do is get down along that sideline. He's unstoppable. One-on-one, I take Reese Goggin. He's the best wide receiver in District 2.
I agree. Yep,
one-on-one. And I have literally my top 3, Goggin, Pacheski, and I don't even know who my 3 would be. Pacheski's real good. You don't want to play with him. And the other one, kid from prep, he had himself a game last year. They played in the state playoffs against Goretti. Oh my God, he was so good. He came down with a couple where he was double, triple covered. But there's a lot. It's a wide receivers conference. The Lackawanna conference is
100%. But Carbondale too.
The way it is.
Carbondale's replacing their entire offensive line. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
All 5 guys they're replacing.
That's why they're so low. Being their history and their line, they're so low because I just can't. I mean, I'm calling them, and I'm hopefully they'll surprise me when they go to Hanover. Week 3? Hopefully that'll be the case. But I just don't see it happening.
That quarterback though, Daryl Bennett, he's back. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's back for them, but again, all 5 of their linemen being replaced. That's just crazy. All right, Wyoming Valley Conference time. Let's go.
Yes, Wyoming Valley Conference time.
Wyoming Valley Conference Division 1.
This is where tears are going to be shed and feelings are going to be hurt.
Oh yeah.
And I don't. And this once again, this is tough. This is going to be really tough to tell.
Both of them even 1 and 2
in this Wyoming Valley Conference 1. This is a tough division. I mean, listen to the teams that I'm going to say. You want to go first on WVC?
Yeah, I'll go first, WVC. All right. So, Wyoming Valley Conference Division 1. Number 1, Wilkes-Barre area. Now, I know they lost Mackay Nelson
Okay.
and they lost Naquan. I know. But
Okay.
that offensive line, though, oh my, like those kids, they are unstoppable. And plus, they still have Howie Schreiner, and that school just it's such a big pool of kids to pick from. They're still going to be an insane team even without Naquan and Mackay. Number
I
2,
agree. Okay.
Dallas. Dallas is
All
going to
right.
have a pretty good year. The only thing that kind of concerns me with Dallas a little bit is now their line is not known for being, at least last year, they weren't that big. But they're fast.
No, but they had some heart and they were damn good.
Yeah. But
Keep
yeah,
going.
that's what I was just getting to. And I don't know. I don't think they're bringing back most of the guys graduated, right? From that line. You would know more.
4 guys in that line.
Yeah. So
4
they're
guys.
replacing a lot, and you're losing probably the best running back next to Crosley in the district or conference.
Parker. He's playing FCS. He's playing FCS ball.
He is.
He's playing good. He's playing D1 ball.
Here's the thing with Dallas for me. I think they're going to be more of a passing team this year. They're not going to run the ball.
Well, they have no choice.
They really.
I agree.
I was just going to say they
pretty much have no choice.
And then number 3, I'm going to go with Berwick. Berwick is bringing back some good guys. Now they did lose some guys, Division 1 guys, Spencer Kishbaugh, going to Carolina. And they are losing a decent amount of guys, but still, I think they have the talent still to be up there. Number 4 is Hazleton. Now that sounds weird saying, but I did get to watch a little bit of 7-on-7 action with Hazleton. They their quarterback situation's a little iffy. They do have this one kid though. He's a tight end, and I believe he's a linebacker. Xander Coleman is his kid's name. He is a beat. He's just like, you look at him and wow, this kid, like you look at him, like even before he started playing, you're like, this kid knows how to play football. And he did. I watched him at the Wilkes 7-on-7. He's going to be good, but I feel like Hazleton's going to be struggling with graduation a little bit, not as much as some of the other teams, but they're going to be with graduation. Number 5, a team that is struggling big time with graduation. I know some of the kids that played on the team last year that made the state semifinals, right?
Yes.
I know a lot of those kids. They're replacing everybody except the Shedlock, the quarterback, freshman quarterback, absolute beast. That's it, though. They really aren't bringing anybody else back. That's the only problem. You're losing that whole offensive line. You're losing Noah Schultz, the running back.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
You're missing. You're losing the Magnus Bibla. His little brother's on the team still, but you're losing a lot of guys on that Crestwood squad. A lot. It's going to be some growing pains for them. Number 6 is Williamsport. Now, I think Williamsport is moving out of the WVC. They're moving into the Heartland Conference or whatever the one out in Central PA is. They're moving into that. But big school last year, we Pittston area played them. We lost. It's just they had so many more kids in us that they just had so much more fresh bodies. We were just gassed, and they just kept giving new kids. But they only won like 3 games last year.
It was not a great season for them. No.
And here's the thing with Williamsport. Their kids, if they're not, winning and up, they seem to fizzle out. They always fizzle out, it seems like. You know what I mean? They always start off really hot, and then they fizzle out towards the end. And last is Wyoming Valley West. Now, do I think they're going to go 0-10 again? No, I don't think they are. I think they're going to win at least 1 or 2 games this year. They're bringing back Isaiah Cobb. Hopefully he stays healthy. I really hope he does because he's a really good kid, a great running back. I really hope he stays healthy for them. The offensive line, they're bringing back a few kids, I believe. They have some talent. They really do. They just got to bring it all together. They got to bring it all together this year. In Valley West, they started off rough last year. I mean, their quarterback, Luke Buss, he decided not to play because of a shoulder injury. Like, he made the choice not to play. Cobb got injured. It wasn't their year. But I feel like this year they can pick it up a little bit, but I don't see them competing with schools like, Dallas, Wilkes-Barre, Hazleton, Berwick. I just don't see that.
I agree. It's pretty sound. Here's what I got. I have Dallas winning it. I just think Dallas is just a solid team. And I know their line is changing a lot, but you also have to keep in mind there are some players that are still coming back. You got Pacheski coming back. You've got Brady Zapaticki coming back. You've got John Cummings coming back.
Yes.
The big guys that, they don't put up with anything. They're really strong. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm around in the area. My brother runs for cross country in there. Isaiah's says all the time, those football players are in there lifting every single time he's in there.
No,
they are in the weight room. Dallas is in the weight room in every sport. Like when I played volleyball there, we hit the weight room. Like a little small school sport like volleyball, we were in the weight room. You can imagine what the football team's doing, and those kids are big. John Scherer just graduated. He got on on one of the big TikTok pages because he did the squat. He had like 4 guys on him, and he was squat, and he got it on the free. It was great. So they got big guys up there. I just think they're big.
Insane.
And they're running. They're going to run with what they were doing last year. The only team that scares me is the team that I have getting second place is Wilkes-Barre area. And here's why Wilkes-Barre area is at second. I seriously think that those 2 losses of Mackay and
Juan.
Yes, him. I know, but they did bring back they brought a guy back from West.
Oh yeah,
West
I didn't mention that. The
Laybourne Body.
Evan
Yes.
Laybourne Body. He transferred.
Here's the question, though: does he fit into a Ciro Cinti run offense?
That's the thing. I feel like he could.
Those are 2 different worlds. Because Ciro Cinti is wait for it, punch. Wait for it, punch. There you go. He waits and gets the other team. Where Laybourne is used to a West Scranton that gives you all they've got from the beginning. And then they slowly teeter out, and hopefully the game is won by then. So I'm wondering if that's going to change anything. And the only reason is Howie Shiner can only do so much. It's pretty much going to be a one-guy offense. You can't win on a one-guy offense. And note that I said that because it'll come back up down the road here in this video. That's why I voted for it too. But that's gonna be a tough game.
Short on time right now, so let's
Crestwood at 3.
Okay.
Nothing much there. Shedlock, quick kid, but can only do so much. Berwick at 4. Tough schedule,
Yeah.
Hazleton at 5. Falling apart. And then Port and Valley West at the bottom 6 and 7. Now let's do WVC 2 because this is the one that's going to offend some people.
This is the last one, and man, am I going to get – I probably already did through the Instagram comments, and this is the division I played in my senior year, and I played all these teams just this previous season, so it's all fresh.
Let's hear it.
Number 1. You ready for this one? Nanticoke area Trojans, okay? Listen, I'm telling you, Nanticoke is going to be something else. No one is expecting them to do anything because they never do, but they are bringing back so much. They got that brand new turf. They're hyped. They are ready. They're winning that. They're winning that title. They want it so bad. They have the talent. They're bringing back Zach Fox. They're bringing back Peyton Kep is back from injury. Both DNs and tight ends, Jaden Johnson and Seth Raymer. They're bringing back most of the O-line. It's all set up for them. It really is. But here's the thing. Now, when I made a little comment on another fellow media, high school sports media, shout out Field of Dreams 2022, I said Nanticoke's winning Division 1, and I had a bunch of Wyoming area people come at me. Wyoming area, you guys are going to be good this year. Let me tell you, it's going to be a bounce back season for you guys after what happened last year. You guys had some growing pains with some young guys not bringing a lot back after the season you had before. I think this division title is going to be decided by one game and one game only. Nanticoke, Wyoming area. I believe it's week 6. Not week 6. I believe it's like week 4 or something. That's going to decide this because both teams are going to be very good, very competitive. Wyoming area just misses out by one game. I think that's it. Wyoming area, you guys are good. Crosley's going to have an amazing senior year. A lot of these guys are the younger guys from last year, or, get that experience. It's going to be a good year for the Warriors this year, a bounce back season for sure. But I think Nanticoke has the slight edge talent wise. That's my thing. Number 3, this might shock some people too. Tunkhannock. Now Tunkhannock last year had a very bad season, unfortunately, but they have a new coach. They're bringing back some guys. You're gonna see some improvements in Tunkhannock. Let me tell you, they're gonna be improved. And then number 4, I'm gonna go Pittston area. Now this is a team. When you want to talk about graduation hit, this is a big graduation hit. I was part of 18 kids. Pretty much every kid played and started that are leaving. The only guys they're getting back is the quarterback, Drew DeLuca, who was an outstanding quarterback, 3 years.
He's a dog. That guy is good.
He's a dog. Playing with him I played with him in junior high ball. He's a dog. but they're bringing back the right tackle, Gunnar Zaldonis, who was a freshman, pretty solid offensive lineman, and he's also playing D-line this year, I heard. And then they're bringing back the Red Rocket Beast. That's what we call him, the Red Beast, Brody Spindler, at linebacker and fullback. That kid is a sophomore, and he lifts probably close to what I lift as a freshman in college for football. That kid is a beast. His uncle actually played in the NFL. So Mark Spindler, he played for the Lions. So football runs in that Spindler family, let me tell you. And then his brother Jimmy, who I graduated, is wrestling at Pitt Johnstown. So that just runs in the family, all that kind of stuff.
Go Panthers. Well, it's not Panthers. It's not the Panthers at Pitt Johnstown. It's something else.
Yeah.
It's something else.
And then number 5 is Lake Lehman. Now, I feel like we're going to see some improvements from them. A rough season last year, but I feel like they're losing a couple guys, offensive line guys. But I feel like they're going to be a little better, a little improvement. Number 6, Holy Redeemer. Not a lot of kids lost, but let me tell you, it's a big loss with Zach Perda, Jacob Hunter, Jeff Kazerski, Joshua. You're losing a couple offensive linemen. It's going to be a rough year. They do have that one kid, though. He just recently committed somewhere for baseball. Luke Kopech is his name. I've been hearing a lot about him, so maybe he can give them a little bit of hope. And last is Hanover. That's just a tough situation. Just a rough school. So, EJ, run it through me quick because we're running out of time.
I also have Nanacoke winning the Division II Wyoming Valley Conference. And listen, folks, this is not that we want to get upset with anyone and make anybody upset. And this is not, I have nothing against Wyoming area. And I doubt that is his reasoning for this, but understand that Wyoming area and Nanacoke both have tough schedules. I just think Wyoming area has a tougher schedule, and whether they beat Nanacoke or not, you have to understand that Wyoming area plays really tough teams this year. They have Crestwood on their schedule who could do some damage. They had Scranton on their schedule who could do some damage. And most of all, which I'll be covering this game, they play Southern Columbia. That's an automatic loss. And if Nanacoke is as good as they are, that could be a 4th loss. Here's the problem, folks. It's not that Wyoming area isn't good. It's that their schedule is ridiculous. It's that their schedule is ridiculous. And when it comes to the standings, it's not just how many you win, but how many you lose counts a hell of a lot more.
I agree. So that's why
I have Nanacoke winning, because they're a decent team. They've got some things to look forward to, and they've got an easier schedule. Thus making it easier for a better record. And that's all. Don't get me wrong. Wyoming area going to be a great team, but they need to prove that by winning the games that they need to win. Maybe they need to beat teams like Scranton and Crestwood, and it's going to be a tough one. And you can't just automatically say, "Oh, it's going to happen," because it ain't. It's not going to be an easy game. They could win, but it's not going to necessarily 100% happen. Same thing with Southern Columbia. Tough game. That could be a loss. Very well might be a loss. Who knows? But they're still good enough to get second. Aaron Crosley is a freaking dog, and I think he's going to be great. I watched him at the Dallas playoff game. I covered it. It was great. And I think he's going to be good this year. Tucanac at 3.
We're on less than a minute right now. So
PA, Lackawanna, or Lake Lehman, Holy Redeemer, and Hanover, just like you. And that's all I got to say.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We're running a little short on time. EJ will be covering his games on the radio. I'll do the most that I can. I'll probably do more basketball. But, thanks for watching. Leave thoughts down below in the comments.